In my first year as a real estate agent, I made $95,000 in gross commission income, and I was only doing it part-time. Now you may be wondering, maybe my friends, family, and relatives bought and sold real estate using me. But the truth is, exactly a year before I got my license, I was a brand new immigrant in this country and hardly knew anyone here. So no, I did not do any friends and family deals. But how was I able to pull it off? Hey everyone, it's Gourav Khatri, and today I'm going to tell you a story about perseverance, persistence, and determination. A story about how I was able to build close to a six-figure business as a part-time real estate agent and kept continuing to grow in spite of the declining sales of the market. But before we dive into my real estate journey, let me tell you what I used to do before I became a realtor. I used to work for this company that provided IT and telecom services to businesses. And my job was to find these businesses and cold call them to sell these services. I was getting a base salary plus commissions. It was decent money, but I still needed a supplementary income to make it through the end of the month. So I would drive Uber after work and on weekends. During this time, I started studying to become a realtor. And as luck would have it, the world was hit with COVID and I could not drive Uber anymore because of lockdowns. I got licensed in June 2020 and quickly did a rental transaction with a tenant I found on Facebook Marketplace. After commission splits and fees, I got paid around $500. This was a good supplemental income. And around the same time, my boss also increased my salary, which means I did not need Uber anymore. I now had more time to grow my real estate business, and that's how my journey started. Since I did not have a huge network, I did not know anyone who could use me for a real estate transaction. What I did have going for me was that I did not shy away from making cold calls. I found a mentor at my brokerage who gave me a simple script and taught me how to find phone numbers of property owners and set appointments with potential clients. All I had to do was put in the work. My job hours were 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and it would take me around 30 minutes to reach the brokerage, which means I was usually there by 6 p.m. As soon as I got to the brokerage, I would not waste any time and start making calls immediately from 6 to 8 p.m. I had a very simple script where I did not waste any time beating around the bush and simply asked whether they were thinking about moving. If they were, I would ask further questions. When I would make these calls, I would wait until the phone rang 4 times until I moved on to the next number. This would usually take around 20 to 25 seconds. I was averaging around 100 calls an hour, and since I would dial for 2 hours per day on the weekdays, I was making around 200 calls per day. Due to COVID, most people were home, and that's why the call pickup ratio was really good, like 15 to 25%. Which basically means that I was talking to an average of 30 to 50 people every day. I know these numbers because I kept track of everything. In fact, another interesting detail about my numbers is that for every 100 to 150 numbers dialed, I would get one person that was interested in possibly buying or selling real estate in the next couple of years. Having previous experience in sales, I know that sales is a numbers game. No matter how good you are at sales, if your pipeline is weak, then you won't be able to sell much. So to grow my database faster, I started calling on the weekends and on holidays as well. In fact, since I had so much time on my hands, I was calling for around 6 hours per day on the weekends, which is basically 12 hours during the weekends and another 10 hours during the weekdays, which I was already doing, which is a total of 22 hours per week of cold calling on top of what I was already doing at my full-time job. I was prospecting way more than full-time agents. So much that in the span of 6 months from June 2020 to December 2020, I had made around 47,000 calls. If you're thinking that after putting in so much effort that I was probably swimming in sales, then you're wrong. I still had no sales. And after doing my first lease transaction, I had only done another 3 lease transactions. But why did I keep going? There are 2 reasons for that. Number 1 is the conversations I was having with people made me realize that they would be buying and selling real estate at some point, but just not yet. And the second is my mentor. My mentor had been a realtor for over 10 years, and he had been through the same process. He always told me to keep showing up every day and putting in the work, and the results will follow. I hope you're liking the story so far. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. When making these calls, the goal was to book an appointment to go meet the clients to give an evaluation on their home and see if they will potentially list their home. Most people won't want to meet you, but some might, just out of curiosity. I was averaging around 2 appointments a month. My mentor told me that it took him 25 appointments to get his first listing. So in the back of my mind, I wanted to get those 25 appointments out of the way as soon as possible, because at the end of those 25 appointments, I would have a listing waiting for me. And that day came in the month of February. It had been 8 months and I had already been on 18 appointments, and a lot of these clients had already bought and sold, just not through me. But I'm not going to lie, I was already starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, because there was at least 2 to 3 of these clients that were looking to move and were going to use me as their agent for sure. And then it happened. I got 2 listings back to back and I quickly sold both the properties for a total gross commission of $46,000. After this huge success, I did not quit my job. I continued to do what I was doing. I kept making the calls, growing my database, going on appointments, and doing the odd leads here and there. Once again in June, I sold 1 more listing and helped my clients purchase a condo. This brought my total to $95,150 in gross commission income between June 2020 and June 2021. In July, I quit my job and became a full-time realtor. But wait, the story doesn't end there. Ever heard of Murphy's Law? It states that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And that is exactly what happened. After I became a full-time realtor, I sold 1 more listing in August and then I had no sales for 3 months. I was losing my mind during this dry spell, but I did not quit. I kept showing up every day and making my calls. In fact, I was going even harder. Instead of making 200 calls a day, I was now making an average of 700 to 1,000 calls per day. I still kept track of everything and I ended 2021 with 113,000 calls and 1 more purchase transaction in the month of December. I told you in the beginning of the video that my business kept continuing to grow in spite of the declining sales of the market. I will now explain to you what I meant by that. In 2021, the Toronto Real Estate Board reported around 121,000 sales, and in 2022, they reported around 75,000 sales. So basically the market sales went down by 38% in a year, and along with it, many top agents lost around 30% of their own business. But my business grew. I did more sales in 2022 than I did in 2021. We're now in the middle of 2023, and the business is down by another 30%, but my business still continues to grow. That's because in spite of being rejected by thousands of people, I still keep showing up every day and putting in the work to grow my pipeline. If you have any questions about how to get started in real estate, let me know in the comments down below. And make sure to check out this next video.